Yes, people, welcome back in the Monday evening. I say some place at night already. You get me? I say, bless up on yourself. Me really to like on my soul, Me to really like on my soul heavy. Like my voice have a bass box tonight. Me really to like on my soul, but you don't know. I guess I'm growing. Yeah, but bless up to everybody on the stream. You don't know the usual suspect them doing that for the already. Yeah, like up the video. And the people who watching this back on the replay, who new to the channel, also leave a subscription over here as I'm streaming on the Copa America platform and Daniel Football Show. Unfortunately, because of family circumstance, Daniel cannot make it tonight. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead. I have a special guest that I'm also going to talk about, the Mexico side. He's going to give his state and what is really going on in the Mexican camp. And also, give us some highlight, of the squad, some other details of the squad, yeah, that probably most of us, probably don't really know much because, it's not our national team. Most of us on these platforms are Reggae Boy supporters. So, it's very important sometimes to have that different side of story to come out, So let me get my guest on here. How you doing? I think you on mute. I'm not hearing. I don't know. For some reason I'm not hearing it. Can you go again? I'm not hearing you. I don't know. For some reason I'm not hearing you. Can you just go out and come back in? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not hearing you. Everything is connected on my side. Let's see if we can bounce back out and bounce back in. But yeah, people, you don't know. The Copa America is just a few days away. I don't know, something feel weird. Yeah, man. Let's see if he's.
Hello?
Are you hearing me?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Yeah. Just yeah. I can hear you perfectly now. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Welcome to Nicaragua Media House. First time here. It's a pleasure to have you as the first L3 fan to present themselves on the platform and also streaming on Daniel Football Show. As we were talking not earlier that my co-host will not be here because of circumstance, but I mean we can rock it. We can rock the ship and sail all the way into the ocean today. It's just probably around an hour. Can go an hour today. Yeah, but I mean, again, welcome to the show. Really appreciate your presence here. To give your state and the Mexican national team. But how you doing? How was your day? How was work? How was your family? You told me that you just coming off vacation. Matter of fact, how was Las Vegas, man? It was hot.
Yes, it definitely was hot. And it's funny because you go from one hot state, because I live in Texas, to another hot state like Las Vegas. And you realize, you know what? It isn't so hot here in Texas. So it makes you appreciate more your own state aside from what's going on in Vegas. But I had a good time. The family is good. Work is done. I just want to talk some footy and see what the expectations are, what the energy is for the game on Saturday.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game, big game coming up, in Houston. You going to attend the game?
No, I would love to go. I guess I don't think I have the funds to try to make it to that game, but I will be watching because I want to make sure that, of course, the Mexican national team does well, especially competing against the Reggae Boys that are Jamaica. And they dropped the new kits. They look so beautiful.
The Reggae Boys kit?
Yeah, they look beautiful. I want to pay. I want to set.
Yeah, everyone is in love with that. Especially you're talking about the green one, the Aoi kit.
The green like mixed print. It looks so nice. And on the back it says Reggae Boys. Oh man, it's so nice.
everyone is in love with with that kit. But yeah, the Copa America will kicks off on Thursday. Yeah, the Alba Celeste will play the Canucks, the Canadian national team, on Thursday, and then Chile will face Peru in Friday action. That will be a big game, and then the first doubleheader of the tournament, which is Saturday. Venezuela kicks off the Saturday with Ecuador, and then Mexico close up with the Reggae Boys. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Feisty encounter. I'm ready. I'm really ready. I'm preparing. Well, but before I go in, how long now you supporting, Mexico national team?
Yeah.
How
Um,
long?
I mean, I'm Mexican, so I've been watching them play for a minute.
Yeah.
However, I have seen the peaks of
Yeah.
some of their success, but at the same time, I also see the valleys and the bottoms that they tend to get. It
Yeah.
is sad to see a once, well respected, a very talented team kind of be down in the dumps as of late.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm curious to see how they perform against Jamaica because as of what I could tell, Jamaica's doing pretty good. They've been very consistent, is what I want to say. Very.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But um, I have always heard this story. Was in New York more consistently, you know, I have always hear the Mexican said there's only two things back home: it's football and religion and family. You could add the family together with it. Is it Somos? Oh, your sound went out. Yeah, I just go back out and see if you could come. I don't know, but before I came on here, StreamYard was having some technical difficulties. So I don't know if it's because of that. They have posted something on their website around an hour and a half ago about some technical difficulties. So I don't know what if it's connected to your audio, but I'm hearing myself quite clear. No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. So you could probably just go back out and come back in like you did the first time. Before I came on here, I saw StreamYard have posted something on their account that the stream is having some technical difficulty. I don't know if that what they experience on the platform is that's why the audio is going in and out. But as I said earlier, I'm just sound a little bit different. I'm just sound a little bit different. I don't know where all these bass of my voice came from.
Hello.
Yeah, yeah, ready. Yeah, yeah. I
Okay.
don't know, man. But if it's that's how we have to work with it, we just have to work with it. But yeah, the football and religion and family, that I have here everywhere I meet a Mexican fan that's the only thing they praise, the national team. I mean, you
Mhm.
can add the national team with their local team, like Club America, Necaxa, Toluca, those, Tigres, but that's all. What is that vibe going to a game, especially a Mexican game on the West Coast, in Houston, in Arlington, Texas, in Las Vegas, what is that vibe, that synergy around, before the game start?
It's a lot of energy, a lot of passion. They want to see their idols, their heroes succeed. They want to be on the pitch and play with
Yeah,
them as much as they could. It's like they say, the crowd is the 12th man
yeah,
in in on the pitch.
yeah,
Of course you have the starting 11, but the crowd is what is what gives the team the energy.
yeah, yeah. Did you went to any of the friendly games against Bolivia, Brazil, or Colombia? Did you manage to went to any of those games?
I was not able to, but one of my sisters actually went to the Brazil game
Yeah,
that happened a few weeks ago, and it was amazing. The energy, Everybody was, dancing. Everybody was going off. Of course, Brazilians are so full of energy, so full of passion. So it was really, really cool to get her experience. And it was her first game, her first
Yeah.
official game in a big stadium with 80,000 people all sharing, the moment. And it was definitely, as she said, a very religious experience, so to say.
Yeah, it's amazing. I would love to be in that stadium to to support, watch the Mexican national team and watch the Brazilian national team. I could imagine the atmosphere. Even if both teams make it out of their zone and meet up in that knockout run of the Copa America, which stadium will they put that game in? Because they cannot find any seat to fill all the fans that want to turn out to watch that game. But let's get into action. The current Mexican squad. There's a lot of noise around, especially just before just right after Diego Coco got sacked when the US beat Mexico in that Nations League 3-0, and then Jaime Lozana took over as an interim manager. He won the Gold Cup. Yeah, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
the US they played, you could say, a B/C team. I think it's only one player that usually in their current squad, Matt Turner was around, but they won the Gold Cup. They appoint him full time. A year after, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of you say administration is having problem with Jamie. Even you talking about selection issues, even that Brazil game, they're like, why these sets of players, started the game? What happened to that rest of players? What is really going on around in the Mexican national team with Jaime Lozano?
It's hard to say because it's like he's trying to do the best he can with the players that he has, in the sense that he's trying to pick young players. Unfortunately, that's one of the reasons why Chucky Lozano and Guillermo Ochoa aren't on the team anymore. Ochoa is 38. He's
Yeah,
playing in Italy, but he hasn't been doing very well.
yeah,
And you can't have someone who's not playing good. Sorry, my cat. You can't
yeah,
have anybody who's not playing very good be your goalkeeper, one of the most important positions on the squad.
yeah.
And Chucky Lozano, as he's still relatively young, but he's not as creative as some of the other players around them, which is
Impact is not
sad.
there, when he burst on the scene in Russia.
Exactly. He's not where he used to be now, and it's it's hard to be able to find a good balance of young talent but good talent.
Yeah,
And of course, there's like bosses who are above him telling him, "I want you to play these players," like, but those players are not going to fit my system, and they go back and forth, and ultimately, there's too many chefs in the kitchen, so to say. So it makes
yeah,
it a little bit harder to really pick out the best squad and get results, because ultimately they played against Uruguay and they lost pretty miserably 4-1. And
yeah,
then they played against Brazil with a much better team, and they were very competitive until the very end. They lost to Brazil 3-2, but it was very competitive, a much almost night and day, two
yeah.
different teams.
Yeah, but then you could say, this Brazil team is on a rebuild. It's not the best Brazilian team, but they did very well to pull the game back level. But unfortunately, young Hendrick just found a way to get that goal. But when I really, do my research, I talk to a few other Mexican fans. When I listen to the journalists, especially this, I love to listen to the Spanish speaking journalists. I translate, and I listen to them. It's like the football in Mexico, they just lost that culture. They lost that way of how they bring up the young players and how they get the players out of Mexico as soon as possible. Because when you look at this current Mexican squad, you hardly can find players in Europe playing at the highest level. Probably you could say only Alvarez and Santi is the only player that playing at the top level. Aurelien Pineda is in Greece, but again, when you talk about the high level, the Giovanni dos Santos, the Rafael Marquez, you could even go back to Guillermo Ochoa, at his days, there the Chikorito Hernandez, you could find a lot more players playing at the highest level, so I don't know how or when they lost that disconnection. The last World Cup, the Mexican national team failed to make it out of the group by just a goal by the Poland national team, But I just don't know, man. But I think when I listen to everyone, it's what is really happening locally with the clubs, And I watch the Liga MX a lot. I see more and more South American players are coming into the league, which never used to happen. We
Mm-hmm.
saw even the new player in the squad, QNS, a Colombian descent, just recently got his citizenship with the
Mm-hmm.
Mexican national team. So less and less player, look at a player like Diego Lainez. He struggled to make it in Europe, especially at Real Betis. So you could see that young players are not getting out of the Liga MX anymore at that rapid pace. And again, you have to put blame on the administration for the local club because they hiking up the price for these players, which the players are not that value the amount of money that they want. You
Mm-hmm.
can shed some light on that, what's really happening locally, where the disconnect is made from the national team with the club team.
So it's kind of a collection of a lot of things. Whenever Mexico played against the U.S., they technically played a team that was mostly all European, in the top five leagues, and then
Yeah,
they played
yeah,
against a Mexico team that really only had like maybe two, three, maybe teams that were in Europe, and they got beat 3-0 or 2-0. I forgot what the official final score was, but it was a very brutal beatdown.
yeah,
And the way that I explain it is that you need to be able to have talent to play under tough circumstances to be able to withstand tough opponents. And if you're not getting that level of experience in league play or in not very competitive leagues, they don't have that experience. And then whenever you try to put them in those environments, they get outplayed. They don't know what to do, or they get too much pressure, and it's hard because I think it's a little bit the administration. They don't want to sell their players because
yeah.
these players make all the money in
They
Mexico.
want to
They
keep
don't want
everyone
to.
up.
Exactly. But ultimately, it's cool to make money in your state, in your country, but you also want to make sure you can be able to be successful and show your level of play on a higher stage. Yeah. The way I was told growing up is that Mexico is a sleeping giant. They were the most successful
Yeah,
team in their
yeah,
CONCACAF for many years, but they never got enough good competition from other teams around them. So they kind of slowed down, stopped taking it so serious because ultimately they were the best team. But now the U.S. is getting really good, Panama is getting really good, and some of the other Central American teams are getting better. And
yeah.
now
Everyone is
it's kind
getting
of
better.
yeah, and it's leaving Mexico behind. And now they're trying to play catch up, trying to learn 10, 15 years worth of experience in like 4 years, which is not enough time to see the teams you select, or the players you select develop into the players they need to be. And
Yeah,
ultimately, it's if they don't start making more smart decisions, having better players abroad, even if it's for cheap, they need the experience. The experience is almost priceless compared to what you of course you want to make money, but you also want to make sure you get the experience to be able to be more competitive on a global stage. You
yeah,
know,
yeah. What I have seen probably, especially more after Corona, I have seen a Mexican team that's striving to make and earn more money than taking care of the football, taking care of what is happening around, the selection. And I think, just right after 2021, the Mexico national team have played over 100 games in 2 decades span since 2002 until right up in 2022. They have played over
hmm
100 games in on US side as they contracted to play a certain amount of games on US side, and they managed to pull more than 6 million fans through the gate through all
hmm
those matches, and the finance that they got from those matches, it's ridiculous. And it seems like that is what's more of attraction to the administration. When you even look at, Club America, the owner is the owner of one of the biggest television company, in Mexico. They get, that's another scandal. They get most of the TV games, they get most of the prime time, and even you could say arguably again, officials, they get most of the cars, whenever they played. So a lot of things are happening between the big time owners for the local clubs and the administration. I even seen that they want to give James Lozano a advisor, someone an advisor role to help him, and he said, if you give me an advisor, I will immediately leave the national team, because that's a slap in the face. You is the technical director for the national team, and they're going to give someone to advise you. That's like they are already preparing for you to get the sack. They're just waiting for that bad result. So do you hear of anything of the administration is involving in selection with the coaching staffs?
Of course, it's not really a secret, but
Yeah,
it's more so kind of something that's understood across the board. Of course, the administration or the Federation of Mexican Soccer is kind
yeah,
of getting their hands in the cookie jar, so to say, and they want to make their own decisions because they want to put players that get more TV, they get this, they get that, sponsorships, whatever you want to call it. But that doesn't mean it translates to better soccer players. And ultimately, it's like they want to be successful in their country, but don't want to be successful globally. And ultimately, globally is where that's where you'll make more money, because ultimately that's where you get more attention. Maybe more clubs will want to buy more Mexican players, whatever the
yeah,
case may be. And that's, like you said, it's almost a slap in the face for Lozano to have an advisor, almost a interim coach, just in case he does decide to just leave.
yeah,
And it just and at that point, you're just saying you don't believe in his abilities to be the coach. Yeah, he's made some questionable decisions here and there, but you kind of need to be able to be in those. You need to be exposed to those situations to start being able to problem solve, be able to make better roster decisions, maybe make adjustments here or there. But if you're
yeah.
not giving them that opportunity and you're just expecting them to fail, then why even bother going through the whole process of hiring someone who was successful at the youth level to try to be successful on the senior team level?
Yeah. Tata Martino, the current Inter Miami coach, he was the coach at the World Cup, and immediately he lost his job after the World Cup finished, and Diego Coco took over. You know how much game Diego Coco lost? Just 7. Just 7. So I know the administration for the national team is very harsh when it comes down to bad results, especially when you get embarrassed by the US. That's not something that they love to see. But everyone know that the Mexican national team, the administration don't give coaches time to settle. You really see, probably like Miguel Herrera, former Club America coach, probably is one of recently the longest serving, manager, around, so um bad result in this Copa America, especially if Mexico don't make it out of this Group B with Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica. Jaime Lozano is going.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. And it depends. If they lose 2 matches, that's just it. There's not, you can play a third match, but it doesn't mean anything. And if they lose at the group stage, it's kind of, it might be the end of it. And hopefully that gives the next coach 2 years enough time to prep for the World Cup.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because the thing that, like you said, it's so harsh to be a national team coach because they want results immediately. They don't give you time to experiment, to find
Yeah.
new talent that you didn't know you had, or maybe even test your talent in certain situations to see if they can be on the bigger stage. But it's so rough to be able to be like, you're lucky if you're there for a year. You're lucky you're there for 2 years. If
Yeah.
that less than that, you're kind of regular if you get replaced right away. And ultimately, this would be a how do I say, a challenge to see if he'll even make it to the World Cup, because there's still 2 more years, and this is a very important competition to at least try to be competitive and
You have
get
the Gold
ready
Cup
for the
next
World
summer.
Cup. Yeah, well,
You have
yeah,
the Gold Cup next summer. But look, since Jamie is appointed, as the full-time manager, he lost only one game as an interim manager against Qatar in that group stage game, 1-0. Then he lost the Honduras game. I think he lost another game, but I think he lost the 2 recent friendly games. He don't lose more than 4 games. He have lost combined around 4 games in his tenure, both interim and as a full-time coach. Um, Expectation for this group of players. What is the expectation? Looking at where the squad, where these players are at the level where they are competing. What's the expectation around as a Mexican fan? What you guys will see or accept as a, you're not saying not a failure, but something that you guys will accept and okay, this is a very good tournament. This is something that we can build on. Next up is the Gold Cup, and next up is the World Cup at home, the most crucial one. But what is the level of competition you guys want to see how the team compete in this Copa America?
So it's a little disappointing, but it's almost like you need to have no expectation
Yeah,
because when I saw the game against Uruguay where it was 4-0, I just looked at it like, okay, well, I guess this is the level that we're going to be at. We can't compete against anybody. We haven't won a game since Bolivia in May, and then we
yeah.
lost miserably to Uruguay. We
He
lost
almost
miserably
lost
to
his job
Brazil.
against Honduras in San Pedro in over there in Honduras.
Yeah, exactly. And then ultimately, the thing about Mexico is that I want to feel proud. I want to feel excited to see my team play, and I will be excited to see them play. But as soon as I see them down one goal, I'm kind of unfortunately going to say, "Here we go again." And let me just, I don't want to turn off the TV, but maybe I'll put mute and go do something else, go do some dishes, and I'll come back in a couple minutes and see if it's changed. But I want them to at least try to get out of the group stage. If they can get out of the group stage, I will be a little bit happier than if they just don't even get out of the group, because that would be just a wasted effort, a wasted talent, and that kind of sets a sour mood, and it's already going to put a lot of things in jeopardy for the Mexican national team, all the potential players, and almost feels like you have to go do another rebuild, and it's
Yeah,
already to the point where if you are going to do another rebuild, you only have one more big tournament before you get to the World Cup, and you guys are not, you don't even have to qualify for the World Cup. You're going to be
yeah,
host nations. You don't
yeah.
have to try to get into it. You just have to perform. And I expect them to try to get out of the group stage, but if not, it is what it is. I'm sad, but also hopefully the US does better.
You know, in Group B, all eyes is on the prize to finish first because anyone finish second will more likely face the Albi Celeste Argentina in the
Mm-hmm.
quarterfinal. No one want to face Argentina at this moment, especially when Mexico just got trashed by Uruguay 4-0. Their own fans all off them off the pitch, boo them off the pitch, So that's the next thing that they wouldn't want to see, to see an Argentinian team that's, is flying, one of the most, probably the strongest team, in this tournament, the most togetherness team in the tournament, very good coach, But when you look around, the Copa America Group B zone, Ecuador, Jamaica, Venezuela, what you think?
Honestly, I think I don't know the exact level of play Venezuela can perform at. Ecuador, I think, are a better team, and I feel like they would be the one to get out of the group first place. Honestly, I think Mexico is either going to be third or fourth. Depending on this Jamaica game, if they do good, I think they can get second place. If they
Yeah,
lose this Jamaica game, it's going to be fourth, and it's not much else we can do. We just have to just lose this game and just get ready for the next tournament because it's. I'm not saying, and I personally think that Jamaica has a pretty tough team now. I mean, they've had good moments. They beat Canada to get to this tournament,
yeah,
and it was and then Canada's also going through a whole thing as well, trying to kind of rebuild a little bit. Um, but Jamaica has some talent. I mean, they don't have Bailey currently because he's not going to play for the team,
yeah.
but they have Andre Blake, who is a really good goalkeeper in the MLS for Philly, and then you guys have, look at the rest of the
Sorry.
team. I
Yeah,
was looking at the
and,
rest of the team.
Blake is kind of a 50-50. He's currently injured, so we really don't know what is there, but he's still there with the group of players. On your way, looking up for the Reggae Boys Rasta. since you can remember, supporting, the L3, do you ever see a Mexican team without a clinical, not let me just use that term, clinical, a proven goal scorer? How confident you in Santi, Santi to lead this national setup?
So it's honestly going to depend on how creative and how much service he can get from his wingers, because
Mm-hmm.
ultimately he's very successful in the Dutch league with
Yes.
Feyenoord, and that's only
Feyenoord.
because he had a really powerful team around him that
Yeah.
were very competitive. He outscored a lot of people last year, and then it was really hot at the beginning of this year. But the thing is, he doesn't have that talent
Mm-hmm.
on the national team. So it just because you have a good player doesn't mean you have the good players to service him those good moments. And he either has to work really hard to make that happen. Sorry, my cat. Or work really hard to try to be in those positions, or even maybe try to serve Quinones, because he's a really good player. He's really
Mm-hmm.
fast. He's creative, and he's if Santi can't do it, it's gonna be Julian, and if they can't do it, I don't know who. I don't know who else. I
Yeah,
don't.
he's 29. He's 29. He's just recently got called up. Guilherme Martinez. He just played 3 games and scored 2 goals. But
Yeah.
this is his first major tournament. This is that. This is what I'm trying to say. I have never seen a Mexican squad that they don't have a proven goal scorer in their setup. There's always someone that is proven, to score the goals at this level, at international level. Santi didn't really do much, last season, as Henry Martin, the big man from Copa America. He also got dropped. Jaime Lozana look over him. No Raul Jimenez. So it's going to be on him. But as you said, it's all about Carlos Rodriguez, Luis Chavez, Alvarez, Luis Romo, all these players, Antuna, how much they're going to deliver the ball towards him, give him the opportunity, for him can highlight and showcase his talent, But again, he just cannot wait on those players. He has to try and do something, for himself. I think he's a very good player. I watched him in both legs of the Atletico Madrid game in the Champions League, and
Mhm.
he's a really good player. He performed at the highest level in the Champions League the season just passed. So I know that he's a very good player. I think I lost second. 1 second. I think
You're okay. Mhm. Hey, bro, Jordan Hyman LFC. Is that like Liverpool Football Club? Sorry, I'm just reading the some
yeah,
of the chat.
I think one of my light went off. I think
Mhm.
the ball, I don't know. I guess I need to repair, rechange right now. But
No, you're
yeah,
perfectly fine.
carry on. Let's carry on the show, man. Let's carry on the show. But yeah, that's Jordan Heyman. He's a Liverpool supporter.
I'm also a Liverpool supporter, and I am sad to
He's,
see Jurgen Klopp leave.
yeah,
Man, and they were so close to the end, but they lost too many games at the very end to try to be competitive, and Arsenal just could not win it. They were off by like what is it, 2 points
yeah, just
at
something.
the
Yeah,
end.
around that. Just around a few points. Yeah. But let's get back on track. Where we at with the Mexican national team. But um, when I really look around this squad, there's not much creative players in the midfield. It's more coming from the wit era, as Mexico used to have these players that play at wing back. That is a massive part of the structure. Again, it's especially that left back position. It's inexperienced, but the midfield is the strongest point of this squad. you know, it's going to be a lot of pressure on Edson, you know, and Chavez and Romo, especially, you know, Alvarez in the midfield. You know, a lot of stick have went out to him, you know, the game that he played against Uruguay. You know, I think, you know, I saw the Uruguay national team set up around him. You know, they allowed him to play the football. You know, he's not the biggest player that want to create. Yeah. So they allow the ball to go to him. And what they do is keep the Mexican teams, the players away from him and zone out all others 9, 10 man on the pitch. And he only has one option, and it's to go long. And then when you go long, you playing with a player like Santi is not so strong in the air. You know, the Uruguayan, they're going to win the ball all day long. You know, so what I say that to say this, you know, do you see this Mexican team with an identity? Because you said you have seen the lows, you have seen the highs. You see this team lack of identity?
Yes, I feel like I feel like like they're still trying to figure it out as they're in the big tournament, as opposed to trying to build this identity before they get to the tournament. And it makes it hard for them to try to figure out, okay, if I have the ball, who are my go-to passers? Where do I start building the play? Where do I create space, and where can I make things happen? And it gets to the point where they kind of get caught with the ball, and they either
Yeah.
get physically they lose the physicality on the 50-50s with other players, and it gets to the point where if you have the ball for 2 seconds, you count yourself 5 seconds before you have to lose the ball or pass it in, lose it in transition, or lose it in trying to pass it back or anything like that. And it makes every situation where you have the ball for less than 5 seconds very stressful, and you have to
Mm-hmm.
think on your feet. And if you don't have your players close enough to you to where it makes it a safer pass, then you're going to end up making long passes. And like you said, the Uruguayan national team was fast. They're strong. Brazil is fast and strong. And if you're not going to be fast and strong, then you got to be a little bit more slower and maybe a little bit more smarter with some of your passing to try to open up opportunities. And I feel like they don't have a clear idea of what they're trying to do. And I think they're just trying to let the midfielders figure out what the moves are instead of trying to kind of be more focused on a plan. And it's
Yeah.
just going to make it very difficult to try to, make something happen against some of these teams.
Yeah. Um, Look, I'm looking at the squad, yeah? You know,
Mm-hmm.
Julio Gonzalez, you know, Carlos Acevedo, Raul Rangel. Raul Rangel is the one that, you know, was in the game against Uruguay. You know, he
Mm-hmm.
just started this is his first season as a top flight goalkeeper in the league. I mean, he just played over just 20 something game, you know, combine the Apertura and the Clausura league together. That's the next position where, you know, there's always an experienced player. Yeah, there's always an experienced player, you know, in the goalkeeper selection. And in the midfield is fine, but the striker, but and the wing backs. When I look at the wing backs, you know, Jorge Sanchez from FC Porto, he's not even playing a whole lot of football, and he's not even performing at the highest level when he's playing for the national team. Yeah, Estos Gallardo, you know, from Monterrey, he's not even in the squad. You know, no. Let me give you a stats on the two left wing backs in this current setup with the national team. You have Ortega and Yeah, both of them. And Ortega was in the previous World Cup qualifying squad, but he didn't manage to get any minutes on the playing field. But when I look on them this season, in the which one is first, the Apertura or Clausura?
Clausura is like the first
Clausura is
one.
first. So when I look on, you know, their stats for the first phase of the Clausura, yeah, both players, you know, Artega he's more creative. He have created, you know, more than 15 opportunities for his club, for his teammates, you know, in the Clausura. But this possess and dribble pass, they have this possess and dribble pass over 50 times combined together. So looking at it, the traditional way of the Mexican team playing, the wing backs are very pivotal to what the Mexican do on that wing in the wit era. They just cannot defend, and time they get stuck out. in the opposition defensive third. When they manage to get back, it's like they always losing that 1v1 battle. You
Mm-hmm.
see anything like that during these friendly games against Bolivia, Brazil and Uruguay.
So I did see some moments, but ultimately it's almost like they're chasing shadows. They try to set up and then they have to run back because they're already lost the ball, have to
Yeah.
defend, and they're already out of position. By the time they get there, they're already shooting on target, whatever the case may be, and it's up to the goalie to try to make the difference. But it's it's they're giving them too much open space to run and just get past them, and then it's not it's not sustainable. The only way you want to have your wingbacks move forward is unless you're actually creating pressure, unless you're actually making those deep runs, unless you're actually trying to be creative. But if you're trying to set that up, but instead you lose the ball and have to run back, you're just tiring yourself out, and then you're going to get caught in even worse position. And it gets to the point where you're playing catch up, as I said, chasing shadows and not making anything happen, and just waiting for things to get better. But you can't wait for things to get better. You have to make the things get better. You need to make better decisions. You need to make better opportunities for yourself and for your team, and even better defensive decisions. You need to not get so deep and then get caught running against what's his name, Darwin Nunez. He's fast, he's quick on his feet. What's his name, Vinicius Jr. He's amazingly fast. If you get caught out of position, that's it. It's kind of just game over at that point.
Because even that Brazil game, with Vinicius, the two right backs, Brian Garcia and Jorge Sanchez, they just always get caught out of position a little too easy. You have to have this understanding and knowledge. You coming up against arguably, the quickest player in La Liga this season, one of the best left winger in world football. You have to have your judgment. You have to pick your moments, and as a team, and it comes again from the coach, you have to select and set up your right back to come up against the best left winger in the world. How he's going to go forward, how the midfield going to cover on that side. You understand how you're going to keep the ball when it's on the right hand side a lot more safer. You just can't give away careless passes, and they just keep turning over the ball. Yeah. You were saying something?
No. I was just saying, I agree with you. And trust me, and in that Brazil game, whenever Vinicius had the ball, they had 3 defenders on him. As soon as they could to try to stop him. And of course, they did. And it was, definitely a very stronger defensive moment here and there. But ultimately, the thing about Vinicius, you give him an inch, that's all he needs. He passed it to Endrick, and he scored it at literally the last minute. And that's amazing talent. That's quality.
Yeah. Look, with the state of where this national team is at, obviously this is a blessing for the Mexican national team to competing again, because after disaster 2022 in Qatar, they wanted back something. They wanted that major tournament, and what I've seen, the body language, and what I've heard from Mexican fans, what I've heard from the journalists, Mexican journalists, and they don't really look at the Gold Cup as a massive achievement. They expect to win the Gold Cup every time there's a tournament. So that seems like it's just a daycare tournament for them. Something to a pre-build-up tournament to prepare for a major tournament. Yeah, this Copa America is massive at this moment, but what we spoke about earlier, the administration, they're not taking anything serious. They're just looking what they're going to get from TV packages, the gate receipt, what CONCACAF, what CONMEBOL, going to give, sponsorship. But this is a time that, Jaime and the players, Edson Alvarez, it has to start from the top in the player pool. And it has to start from the top of Jaime in the coaching staff pool. And it has to start from the top of the president, to get on board, to get as one as what the Mexican used to be, and compete at the highest level again. And show some courage that you want to play for the national team. So this is a tournament that, look, they just cannot screw up. And if they screwed up, it's going to be a miserable the next 2 years and to the next World Cup. You can expand on that.
Of course, because ultimately, this is one of those opportunities you get to build off of something. Maybe you can get out of the group stages and really transition that into a new era that you may be entering with your team. Maybe you'll find out, okay, I do have a good team. Maybe just some pieces need to be adjusted, whatever the case may be, because ultimately, like you said, the Gold Cup is something that's expected. It's a competition where it's mostly the top four best teams in the CONCACAF region. USA, Mexico, Canada, and whoever else is really competitive in that region. But ultimately, it's always going to be like an expected tournament. They have the most championships in that specific tournament. They have 9, I think, 9 or 8. I don't remember the exact amount. But whenever they lose to the US or you lose to anybody else, it's kind of like, are we actually that good? Have we ever been this good? But it just makes it's almost like a false sense of security. It's a false sense of security, thinking that you are good getting this Gold Cup, but ultimately, whenever you get put on a more competitive stage, you realize I'm not that good at all. Maybe I am bottom of this tournament or whatever the case may be. For some teams, it's a luxury, an opportunity to take part in this tournament. For other teams, it's kind of just like for Uruguay, for Argentina, it's like a way of life. They have the most trophies in this tournament. They both have 15, I think, or 16, and for them to invite some North American teams to kind of compete, it's kind of you're not taking the opportunity to show what you're really made of, to make magic happen, I guess. And if all you're doing is just using it for promotion, using it to make money, then you're just really you're doing a big disservice to your fans and to the players who are believing in the coach, believing in the system, trying to be better, be the face of Mexican soccer, and not being able to deliver is disappointing.
Yeah. Before I want to touch on something, but how important is Coca-Cola is to Mexican football locally and to the national team?
Coca-Cola, it's like the soda Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is almost Coca-Cola is drank almost more than water. That's how big Coca-Cola has a big hold in the Mexican public, because it's cheaper than water kind of thing. It's one of those things where they make a lot of money from the Mexican public.
Can you repeat that
again? Coke is cheaper than water
in Mexico.
So it's like maybe like I think like 5 pesos for a bottle of water and like maybe 3.50 pesos for a Coke, and it's ridiculous how cheap it is, and it's because it gives you an idea of how bad their priorities are in this country, where they know the brand Coca-Cola, but they don't really care about drinking water for themselves. They're like, oh, but I want Coca-Cola. I drink it with everything. So I drink it for dinner, for lunch, for breakfast even, So it's Coca-Cola is a massive sponsor and a massive thing in Mexico.
Yeah. I look at me as a reggae boy, look, since 98, we haven't made it to the World Cup. The last time Mexico failed to go to a World Cup, it was 1982, and then they hosted the next 4 years after, which Argentina won. But Ecuador, they went to the last 4 World Cup. Yeah, they debuted in 2002, and look where Ecuador is at the moment. Venezuela, they have started really well in their World Cup qualifier to prepare, to qualify for the 2026. They in 4th position. So they are a sleeping giant in this group. And when I did I think it was yesterday, I did a preview of Group B, and Venezuelan team is not playing any games at the moment. They are preparing as a team. They are preparing, make sure everything is really proper. The first time the media have gotten any sights around Venezuela, it was over the weekend when they touched down in California. They locked up for 2 weeks preparing. So they're going to be a sleeping giant in this group. There's no guarantee 3 points in this group. So the first games coming up on Saturday, as you said, it's important for all 4 teams to get on the points standard. Is it 1, 3? Everyone can't get 3 points. Someone have to do, someone have to job. But I see this tournament as something, as Reggae Boys, we see it as a top, behind the World Cup, But at this time, we see it as, this is our 3rd appearances in Copa America 2015, 16, and this one now. So we see this tournament as the tournament to be playing in, since we cannot make it to the to the World Cup over 2 decades now. So I see this as a top tournament, and I see what I'm expecting from my country. This going to prove a lot of where this coach is at. Where he's at, what he have learned since his first game, playing against Argentina in New Jersey, a year and a half ago. Until now, it's going to prove where my elite players are at the moment. How far is the preparation to get into the next World Cup and also compete in the World Cup. You're talking about that. We have quite a few, talented players, playing in the English Premier League and also in Europe. How good, is this Jamaican team for you? What you know about, the players are the team especially in the last World Cup? What you have learned from them in the last World Cup, and what you're expecting are to see this team do on the big stage in Copa America?
So as far as what I expect from Jamaica, I feel that they can have the tools and the talent to beat Mexico. As far as Ecuador or Venezuela, I think it might be a little bit more competitive because I don't think they faced anybody on that level of competition. Like you said, they are sleeping giants. They definitely are teams who are locked in, training 2 weeks or more as a team to try to iron out any issues they may have and figure out the best strategy for how to handle any given situation. Whereas for me, for Jamaica, I see that they've for the most part are positive. They've won more games than they've lost. They've had a few draws here and there, whatever the case may be, but they are in pretty good form, and they've been relatively consistent across the board over their overall performances. Whereas Mexico, on the other hand, has been very much they win some, they lose some, they win some, they lose some. And then as far as Ecuador and as far as Venezuela, they're starting to almost develop their new, maybe the beginning of a new generation.
For both of the teams.
Exactly.
This Venezuelan team, they have never seen this amount of quality players playing across Europe. They have players going to play in the Champions League next season. They have players that play in Europe top 5 league. That's what I'm saying. They have players that play in Europe top 5 leagues. Meanwhile, when you look on Mexico, they're struggling for players to get in Europe top 5 league. Ecuador is right up there. Their players is getting there. Their players are real. They have players in the Bundesliga. They have players in the Belgian Pro League. They have players in the English Premier League. They have players, all rest around, in Netherlands, Turkey, lower part. So they have players in Europe. But Ecuador have issues just similar to what the Mexican is having now. Not more of administration, even though the previous coach that was there, Alfaro, is coaching Costa Rica right now. He left the post of the Ecuadorian national team after the World Cup because of unpaid salary. But with this man now at the helm, Felix Sanchez, he's under a lot of scrutiny. Same thing that you're talking about, the lack of identity. And I was even today, talking to one of my Ecuadorian friends at work, and I was like, what happened in the game against Honduras? And he's like, oh my God, this guy Felix Sanchez, he don't understand to prepare a South American team. He's preparing the South American team as if, it's a European team, as if, he's a Spaniard. He's trying to play the Spaniard type of way. He's not playing with a number 9. He played with a false 9, which is Kenji Paez, against Lisandro Martinez, one of the most roughest defender in the camp of the Argentina team. So he's trying to play that, Spaniard type of football, but it just, I don't see, I'm not going to say, it cannot work, but it's going to take a level of commitment, for that to work in South America. And Ecuador have only scored 5 goals this season in their World Cup qualifier campaign out of the 6 games. So, and they're behind Venezuela as well. So that's why I said, this Venezuelan team is a sleeping giant. You have to look out for them. But, they have just the same problem as what Jaime Lozana is having, lack of identity, not much like you would say passion coming from the players, but, the Ecuadorian players, they're showing that level of passion, that commitment, want to play for the national team, But, I mean, it's going to be a showdown, in Group B. But what I have said, alongside some of my fellow Jamaican, friends, I told them, look, this is the best time. We have played the Mexican team twice last year. One time in the Azteca, in the Nations League, where we drew 2-2, and in the semi-final of the Gold Cup, and we not managed to get something positive yet. We're going to play them again coming up on Saturday. This is the best time. Since I'm watching the national team of my country coming up against Mexico, this is the best time to play a Mexican team. Yeah, this is the best time to come up against them. And with what is really going around, of the Ecuador national team in the camp, again, I fancy the Reggae Boys to get something from the game. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be tough. But if my country can prepare, the coach can prepare the players really well, set up the team really well, organize, make sure everyone is coordinating on the same level. Everyone is having that understanding. Everyone understanding defending lead, what's plan B, what's plan C, what's plan A. We fancy ourselves, to get out of this one. And there's a lot more belief of the Reggae Boys fans that if we lost all the games, we're going to beat Mexico. We have that belief that this is the time we're going to get the best of the Mexican team. I mean, you can, before we close out, you can shed some light around what I just said about Group B and Ecuador.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, ultimately, if the Mexican team continues to not have a good sense of vision, a good sense of focused idea of what their identity is going to be, then Jamaica can definitely capitalize on it. And with the 3 points, they can jump to the next team, whether it be Venezuela or Ecuador, whoever's next, and really give you that sense of confidence. I just took out Mexico. I can sure as hell take on Venezuela or Ecuador. I'm kind of like, I don't want to say I'm feeling myself, but you definitely tend to feel that confidence whenever you beat somebody who you've been able to be very competitive with. Yes, you may have lost the last game against Mexico, but man, that revenge is going to be so nice, especially in a competitive setting, and in a sense that you can already put Mexico, on a trip back home within the first game. And they can really set the tone for what the next game is going to be like, because I don't want to say you're only as good as your last game, but sometimes it really can be like that. You can really build off of that momentum and really give the players confidence to really take on anybody. You know what I mean? And the same thing for Mexico. If they can beat Jamaica, it could really set a good tone for what the next game is going to be.
For both countries, it sets up the group really well. Just to manage to get one more positive results and you're into the knockout round.
Exactly.
First game is crucial in this group. It's very crucial. As I think this is probably the out of the 4 groups that's in the Copa America. I think this is the most level par teams in the group, where anyone can really beat anybody. Just by giving the talent that on display. The talent pool of players in the 4 national teams.
Definitely. I definitely agree. I feel like anybody can beat anybody, but also anybody can lose to anybody. And if someone does lose to anybody, you're not going to be completely surprised if it does happen. Of course, I want Mexico to get to the next team. I know you want Jamaica to get to the next round. We all want that, but we also got to realize that under the bright lights, with all the pressure in the world on your shoulder from your team, from the crowd, it could definitely make mistakes bigger, and it can make goals and big moments more brighter, much better. And ultimately, you have to kind of feed off of that energy to really carry you into the next round or carry you into the next opponent. Because if not, it can really make things difficult because then that means you're going to be, trying to go an uphill battle, and it's already much tougher after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. What you have heard about the Leon Bailey saga?
I'm sorry. Repeat that.
The Leon, did you what you have heard? You have what you have gathered from the Leon Bailey saga? You saw the story?
From Leon Bailey, the only thing I heard was that he wasn't going to play or something
Yeah,
like that, and
yeah,
and that and the thing is, he plays for Aston Villa, and Aston Villa have been amazing in the Premier League and gotten to the point where they've never been that high before in a very
yeah,
long time. And
yeah,
for Jamaica not have one of its key players that can be a difference maker against more competitive teams is kind of sad. But it's up to the rest of the team to try to pick up I don't want to say pick up the pieces, but try to fill that spot and still be competitive. One player doesn't make the team,
yeah,
100%, but
yeah,
that one player could be the key to unlock everything else.
yeah,
And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that's what's going on, but hopefully at some point, things get better, a relationship gets better, and he can join the team because I think it's a big honor to be able to represent the national team and to be
yes.
able to represent the national team on such a big stage. You have to take those opportunities. Sometimes maybe he won't get
And he
that
have never
opportunity
played in
again.
the Copa before. This will be his first time in a big major tournament. Vinicius Junior. Lionel Messi. You have Angel Di Maria. You have so many players. You're going to come up and that's in the tournament. And actually look the caliber of players that the Ecuadorian national team have. So you know it's and for us CONCACAF. I know out of all the CONCACAF teams, Mexico have got invited the most to play in CONMEBOL tournament. This is their seventh. I know this is their
Mhm.
12th times, playing in CONMEBOL. 12 times playing in the CONMEBOL, tournament. So they have more experience of going there. They have even went, to the last four final, challenging, the top teams in CONMEBOL.
Mhm.
So as you said, you just want to see your best players. Just like, look, you have Alvarado, you have Antuna, you have Alexis Vega, you have Orbelin Pineda. El Chucky Lozano is the most talented player out of the bunch of those players that I just called. But guess what? He's not there. He got overlooked by Jamie. And he's what, 28, I think. He's just around
Yeah,
28. So
exactly.
Mexico will be out their most talented and gifted winger. Look at what he have done in Russia. He burst on the scene against Germany. In that group stage. You said you just want someone to just come on the scene, showcase their talent, and that was him. That was him in
Mhm.
Russia. Burst on the scene. So I mean, let's see, what's really going to happen. But this Leon Bailey thing, it's it's more than what me and you think. It's a long road ahead. You understand?
Mhm.
Look, I have compete with Leon for probably around 5 years in the youth setup, in Jamaica. And what I'm telling you, him and his camp, which is his agent and his father, whatever, they have always having issues, with the local organizer, which for Kingston, they call him Cassava, Kingston and St. Andrew Football Association, and the
Mhm.
national setup. He have gotten blocked from the national team at a young age. He should have been around the national team at a younger age, but unfortunately, because I said circumstances, with his camp, they have land going issues of it's a over a decade issue that they have been having with the hierarchy of Jamaican football. So it's something that's bigger than all the fans. It's bigger than every one of the players in the camp. It's up to
Mhm.
him and his camp to really resolve that issue for him to get back into the team. And also, with the federation, did El Chucky you have any issue with the national setup? Or you just got overlooked by Jamie?
It's a little bit of both. I don't think Jimmy Lozano had any issues with Chucky. It's more so the fact that he wanted to let some of the older players who have had a lot of opportunity in the Mexican team and bring in new people to see if they could do that and maybe more, because you
Yeah.
can't keep using the same players over and over again and not get better results. You got to start changing some things. And unfortunately, it was one of those moments where he decided, like, you know what, Ochoa has to go. He hasn't been performing. We need somebody younger, someone who can react a little bit better. And the thing about Chucky is he probably said, you know what, Chucky's not good enough to start. Maybe he could be a come off the bench, but I need players who can start and be more impactful right away. And ultimately, I think Chucky probably could have done one more year for the national team, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's hard to tell what's going on in someone's mind. They have maybe, whatever path that they think the team needs to go in, and ultimately, you have to kind of, for lack of a better term, you have to
Yeah.
stand on business. You can't let too many people, what they call, give you too many opinions, because then you start not making your own decisions. You start listening to other people make decisions, and then, like you said, the Mexican Federation kind of does have their hand in what he can and can't do sometimes, and ultimately that can definitely make things harder and almost feel like there's two different ideas, butting heads, and no one's really going to make a good identity of what's going to happen. And ultimately, Jimmy Lozano wanted to make a decision, a very controversial decision, and not bring in Chucky and not bring in Ochoa. But ultimately, he's trying to do what he thinks is best. And you kind of have to let him make those decisions on his own, and hopefully they pay off. You know?
Yeah, there's issue, with Santi as well. Santi, Jimenez, with the administration, you know, they wanted to play local players over Santi and his camp, his agent. I think his dad is his agent. Is not having it as well. This is why Santi, previously he have benched a whole lot of games, and El Chucky have missed the last two Gold Cups because of injury. And now he's missing. I think the two major tournaments that El Chucky have played in is two World Cups. He have missing a few Gold Cups now because of injury.
Mm-hmm.
So I know, he's overlooked, you would say, technically, with some red flag over his head for this Copa. But I mean, your prediction getting out of Group B.
Honestly, if we can beat Jamaica, we can probably be competitive with the next game, and maybe by the grace of God get second place. If not, and we lose to Jamaica, it's last place. It's just building on one negative, building on another negative, and it's just going to bring us down. I want them to at least get second place. If
Yeah,
not, fourth place. It is what it is. We'll try again for the
fourth
Gold
place and
Cup.
rebuild again.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And the thing is, I want to be optimistic. I want to be optimistic, but ultimately, I don't know. They have to kind of figure it out. They have to figure it out soon, like yesterday, and not in the middle of the tournament. But what about you? What are your predictions?
I I will say, one. Hold on, I'm getting an important call. Just give me 1 second.
Go ahead, Donovan Downer.
Yeah. One, before I go ahead with my honest, humble opinion, I don't think none of the four teams in this group will come out with maximum 9 points. I see the most points might get that might finish on top is six,
Mm-hmm.
and possible, if not so much, probably five. I see everyone might take some points off all the teams, in this group. It's possible. It's possible this group will go down to the match day three to decide who will go through to the quarterfinal to play Chile, Canada, or the Albion Celeste, or Peru.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like Ecuador and Jamaica will make it through. I think Jamaica will get the best of of Mexico.
Mm-hmm. I think
I have that strong feeling that this is the time to
mm-hmm.
get the better of this Mexican. The last time the Reggae Boys have played, we have one win out of the last 6, and it's when we
Mm-hmm.
beat you guys in the semi-final of the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
I think that game played in Phoenix in 2017. I think so. Yeah, I think it was in 2017. But yeah, I see, strongly think that the Reggae Boy and Ecuador will get out of this soon. But it's going to be very competitive. It's going to be neck and neck. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
don't see Ecuador go through with 9 points. I do not see Mexico go through with 9 points. Someone going to drop points.
Oh yeah, the worst thing that could happen is Mexico and Jamaica tie, and then Venezuela or Ecuador, one of them wins. That would be the worst,
yeah,
and that means we're both at the bottom. And
yeah.
at that point, we might as well just pack up our bags, get on the plane, and just get
But
ready to leave. That would be the worst thing. Okay, either one of
I
us has to win. We can't
yeah,
tie.
yeah. But I just when I said Ecuador and Mexico will go, Ecuador and Jamaica, will go through my honest opinion. I'm just thinking about the Venezona, Venezuela. I just see them as someone that they're going to create a lot of weather that's going to be really bad in this group. Salomon Randon is playing out of his skin at Pachuca this season. You have won the Copa Libertadores, not the Libertadores, the CONCACAF Champion League, beating, Columbus. He played Andre Blake it was semi-final. I think it was in the knockout round. He played Philadelphia, and they trashed Philadelphia in Pachuca. I think he scored an hat-trick on Andre Blake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about the Champions League is that you have to win at home, because if you go to
Yeah.
Mexico and play against them,
Yeah, because
you're not going to get out.
the first leg in Philadelphia at Subaru Park drew 0-0.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, if you don't win at your own home game and you go to your opponent's home game, you're
Yeah.
not gonna. You're gonna get stomped, and it's gonna
Yeah,
be brutal.
and then, so I think this starting Copa America is big. Is big, for hold on. Did Mexico spend in the Olympic?
I'm sorry.
Mexico is in the Olympic?
Yes, they are in the Summer Olympics.
You in look. Just take a look if you're in the Summer Olympic, because I'm looking at it. This next couple of years will be massive in terms of the Mexican national team to really get their things together, because they will play the Copa America now. They played the Gold Cup last summer. They won it. Disappointed in the Nations League. They will have the Gold Cup again next summer. Before that, they will have a Nations League. No. Yeah, they will have a Nations League in the quarterfinal, which they got a bypass. And they will have the World Cup 2025. And they will also, their club team will be playing in the FIFA Club World Cup, which is going to host here in the US. So it's massive, for Mexican football, to see where, even the local clubs are had to compete against the top European giants, around the world. So Mexico have, the local clubs have always wanted to prove themselves, in the FIFA Club World Cup. Monterrey, I think Tigres have went to the last one. I think they got beaten, by Flamengo. So, let's see. Pachuca will be playing in the FIFA Club World Cup next year in the US. So, Mexico will be having a lot of eyes and a lot of things, coming up. You saw the Olympics? They in it?
Let's see. United States. No, it's actually just the United States, Argentina.
You know what? You know what happened? You see that qualification that to get to the Olympic, Mexico got beaten in the under 20 World Cup qualifier by 1-0 against Guatemala. So that was Jamaica actually lost to Dominican Republic 1-0. So that's why Dominican Republic is there. Dominican Republic and US is there.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that.
So that was the first in so many years that Mexico have even. So you see the pattern. Look, they when last you have ever seen a youth Mexican team fail to make it to a youth World Cup?
You know what? I hope I don't ever have to see it. I don't want them to fail not going to the World Cup. That would be a controversy
it
of the
happened.
year.
It happened a few years ago that they failed to make it to a U20 World Cup in Argentina just a few years ago. They got knocked out of the quarterfinal against Guatemala.
Yeah, and it even happened to the women's national team. They didn't make it either.
Exactly, and they got beaten by Jamaica.
Yeah, exactly.
So you see the pattern, and now coming up this summer, the U20 will be hosting in Mexico. So let's see the U20, the U20 World Cup qualifier, will be hosted on Mexican side. So let's see if they can get some. But Mexico didn't make the Olympics because they failed to make it to the semifinal of the under 20 World Cup qualifier. I think that played in Honduras, San Pedro Sula. But I mean, Gil, it's a nice talk. Talking to you about Mexican football, man, giving, the Reggae Boys fans who's watching currently, little insight of what's really going on. They listen to Christian, a Ecuadorian fan who live in Boston yesterday, and also, a Venezuelan journalist, who I've played, because of language barrier, you don't speak English, you cannot come on the platform because I was trying to get him on the platform with you so you can, translate, but, he didn't manage to get on here. He has some stuff to do, but really appreciate, you taking the time out, to let's talk about the Group B, of the Copa America. It's a really positive one. I love it. I love it. You actually, gave me a little bit more insight what's really happening, talking from a passion Mexican fan, Let's see if we can do this again after Jamaica and Mexico play. Over the week. Yeah, let's see. We can break down the game. Probably we can have you. Probably the Venezuelan journalist, and we can have Christian, Ecuadorian. So we can have 4, supporters, from each country, talking about the game that happened on Saturday. So let's see if we can do something like this on Sunday. Sunday, I think, will be a really good time to do this, just analyze the game, what's happened, in Group B on Saturday, as, the game started 8 p.m. your time, 9 p.m. my time. So it will end late. Yeah. So, I mean, I might do a live, but I won't get any guys, and it will be late. I want to respect your guys' bedtime. I don't know how early you guys really wake up to go to work, Yeah, but your last word though. Your last word before you.
The last words I want to say is, let's be focused and let's make something happen. If not, I mean, I'm not. Again, I don't want to get my hopes up because then that makes me feel passionate. That makes me love my team. But when they let me down, I mean, it is what it is. What about for you?
My guards are up. I'm very anticipating. I just cannot wait for Saturday. Look, as I said before, we haven't made it to the World Cup since 1998. The Copa America is a big thing. We don't really get to play these teams. I think over the last 7 years, we have only played Ecuador twice. We have played Venezuela in the last Copa. They beat us in the Centenario 1-0. So we don't get to play these teams, especially in CONMEBOL region, very often. So it's refreshing to see my national team play these opponents, to see the level of where my team is at, and to play again. I love to play. I will play Mexico and US all day long because why? They are the 2 top juggernauts of CONCACAF football. So if you can see your national team playing those teams on a weekly, I'm just saying like a weekly basis, you can get to see where your national team is at. You don't want to rank your team respectfully against, Honduras, Panama, and Costa Rica. A good team, but everyone want to get Mexico and US off the pinnacle. So I'm very excited for Saturday. I'm very excited for this tournament to kick off. A CONCACAF team. Hopefully the Canucks can get the best of the Albi Celeste. I'm hoping that when we saw Saudi Arabia, the Al Sharawi goal, and Argentina, when they beat Argentina in the first group stage of the World Cup, hopefully we can see Alphonso Davies goal, something, to to
Yeah.
really get the tournament kicks off and get, it's a buzz, excitement. The
Mhm.
first big upset. Just like you see Slovakia beat Belgium today.
Oh my gosh.
You know, the
Amazing.
biggest shocking news of the tournament, along in terms of result, but the biggest things around Euro is Kylian Mbappe, fractured his nose. But
I saw that happen and when I was working, I had my phone on the side watching the game. I was like, is that Mbappe on the ground? Oh my God, he's bleeding. What happened? You see the replay?
So,
oh my gosh.
Hopefully, hopefully I can actually witness what Saudi Arabia did to Argentina, Canada, Jesse Marsh can. One question. You think Jesse Marsh can really improve this team?
I want to be hopeful and I want to give them the benefit of a doubt, but if not, I mean, I think Canada's best opportunity was the World Cup. They haven't been to the World Cup in so long.
Yeah,
And they had a
but
really
I
good
mean,
team.
let's see, Scaloni versus Jesse March coming up on Thursday, and then Chile versus Peru. Chile, the last team to won the Copa America back-to-back 2015, 2016, beating the Albiceleste Celeste. What you call them? The La Roja? That's what they call Chile? La Roja? I think
so. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up, but I don't remember what their nickname
Roja
was.
is red, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's the La Roja. So the last time someone win the Copa America back-to-back, it was Chile 2015, 2016, and the last time Argentina won the Copa back-to-back, it was 1991, 1993. So let's see if history can repeat itself, if they can win this tournament back-to-back for the third time in their history. So all road lead to Thursday. Canada, the Canucks versus the Albiceleste Celeste. Amigo, really appreciate talking to you. It's refreshing. Hopefully we can do this again in a week later after the two matches played in Group B. Say hi, to your sister. She's the one that really made this connection. Hopefully she's watching. I gave her the link. So that's my last word. Really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on the Carter Media House and Daniel Football Show. Wish I could have him so he could pick your brain a lot more than what I did about Mexico. So, hopefully next time he will be on the show. So, we can have a chat. But hopefully, when I have you on the show, it will be a full house with the Latry, the L3, the Venetona, and the Reggae Boys fans. And say, Gil, amigo, really appreciate it. Salute.
Thank you so much, Nick. Hope you have a great rest of your night, and hopefully we can see some sparks fly in the match.
Starts on Thursday.
Of course. You get some rest. We'll try to do this again because this was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man. Peace out. Yeah. People, it was really good. It was really good, So I had a Mexican and I have an Ecuadorian, just to give the insight. Hopefully I can get that Venezuelan on the platform, so one of those gentlemen can actually be as an interpreter, so because he don't know English because of the English barrier. So, people, really appreciate everyone that's watched. It was a lovely chat. It's an hour and 24 minutes. I respect, giving us your time, on the channel. If you haven't liked the video, you can do so, And also, if you're new, just subscribe, Please, if you're watching on the Carter Media House, you can go over and Daniel Football Show and actually, give him a subscribe if you haven't do so to his platform. He's missing because, family reason, so respect his time, but again, Thursday, the tournament kicks off. Saturday, it really start to happen. Can the Reggae Boys get the best of the Mexican national team? Can Coach Hallgrimson outclass the struggling or the lack of identity of even both national team? Jaime Lozana. Yeah, can he get the better of his man on the third time? He cannot go down in that game for the third time. In Jamaica, we said anything is three is death. As Saturday, I think I should be wearing full black, coming out, burying, keeping a ceremony for the Mexican national team. You know, it's going to, as I said, people, it's going, you know, I'm very excited, you know, for this tournament. It's going to be neck and neck. I think it's going to be one of the most competitive group in the Copa. I think, you know, no team will finish at maximum points in this group. You know, Venezuela are a sleeping giant. They are a sleeping giant, you know. This is a golden generation. They and what you know they are using this tournament as a preparation, you know, to continue their quest to qualify for a World Cup. You know, coming up their World Cup qualifier campaign resume in September. So they said, you know, this is a part of their preparation. They want to do well. They want to do something like what they did, you know, a decade ago in 2011 Copa America when they finished fourth in the tournament. So I think this squad currently is individually is better. You know, I think this squad now, Venezuela is more structured, is well organized. You know, the president, you know, Maduro is even getting behind the national team, you know, in terms of the resource that he's providing, you know, on sponsorship, you know, so it's very big, you know, they're very optimistic, you know, the Venezuelan people, you know, about this tournament. They want to do well, you know, they want to show the world that, you know, the Venezuela, you know, is a country that you can reckon and look forward to see, hopefully, in the next World Cup. You know, everyone is fighting for the next World Cup, as you know, so many spots are open. So, and it's just like the Copa America, the 6 CONCACAF teams that's going to play. I just don't even know which one will go the farthest in this Copa America, as I think everyone, you know, in this Copa, when you look Canada, it's a very tough zone with 3 CONMEBOL teams, you know, the Reggae Boys, you know, and Mexico. I think, you know, that's one of the zone that you would say probably one of the CONCACAF team would probably want to have another CONCACAF body in their group so they can actually get something from the game, which they will be familiar with their opponent. So it's going to be neck and neck, you know. But Jamaica in Group B, they were going to face someone from Group A. So it's going to be tough for the CONCACAF teams. You know, last time the US they went to the semi-final, lose out to Colombia 4-0 in the semi-final, and behind that Mexico got 7-0 against La Roa, the Chile national team, in the Centenario in 2016. So, you know, they would want to prove, and again, US can also face Colombia in the next round if they manage to finish on top in that zone in Panama. And, you know, depends on who will finish first or second in the Brazil zone with Colombia. So, I mean, everyone there, when you have 16 teams in a tournament, there's no rest time when it comes on to the knockout round. Once you get out of your zone, it's all guns out. Yeah, and that's all I miss the times when the European Championship used to be 16 teams. You know, it used to be a lot more competitive, which football have evolved. You know, you saw, you know, the Austrian team, you know, Ralph Radnick is coaching the hell out of that team. They top their zone in the European Championship qualification to get where they are. You know, Romania is the next team that top their group to get where they are. You know, Ukraine have managed to scrape through to the final. You know, they make it to the playoffs. So you see the smaller teams are getting there. Slovakia getting the best of Belgium. You know, unfortunately, Belgium, Lukaku, two goals that got disallowed. But when you look around, man, in world football are evolved. The smaller teams are coming, and I just want, you know, our system, our bigger heads, the hierarchy that are responsible for the Reggae Boys. There's no more individuality in football. That time has passed. It's all collective. It's all teamwork. It's what the level players on the pitch going to do on that day with the substitution that's going to be made, plus the coach and plus preparation behind the scene. You know, preparation is a big thing. I have seen that even an interview with that sports psychologist of the Reggae Boys. So, you know, things like that, you know, we want to see. You know, we want to see the backroom staff get larger. We want to see more physio. We want to see more doctor. We want to see more coaches. You know, he's helping out on the training pitch with the gaffer. So football is moving fast, yeah, and us locally in Jamaica, we have to move with the pace. Cause look at Mexico. No, just look at Mexico. Who could tell that the Mexican team is way below par than where the Mexican team supposed to be? They're struggling to get players into the top 5 leagues in Europe. Look at how much players we have in our squad that's playing in top 5 league in Europe. Huh? So it's and I think we have more players playing in the top 5. I'm not sure. Maybe Ecuador have more players playing in the top 5 leagues around Europe than us, but we up there in terms of quality players that we have. You understand? So there's this level of anticipation that I understand that people want the reggae boys to do well, but when you have incompetent people doing the preparation and things are just being disjointed, it's just half full at times. But we still hope for the best. It's our national team. Me personally, I love Leon Bailey. I have rivals with him. Growing up in Jamaica playing youth football. He's our best player, as what Gail said. He's the talisman for the squad. He's the most informed player. This is his first time playing about 50 games in his career. So when you look at the level of where Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, these players don't take time out. These players only get like 2-3 weeks break from football in the summer. How much break did Lionel Messi get over the last decade when it comes down to the end of his club football in the summer breaks? They barely get rest. Cristiano Ronaldo is going to set a record coming tomorrow in the game against Czech Republic. Since 2004, he has been playing and scoring every year of his national team. Cristiano Ronaldo has played so many games, scored so many goals. Look at Pepe, both players. Their ages is almost 100, and they still doing it at the highest level, no break. So if you want to make it to the top, man, sweat, blood, and tears. You think Lionel Messi don't want to enjoy his time with his family, but the little time that you get, you have to make use of it. That's why you get paid big bucks. People like me, the regular people that do the average 9 to 5 jobs, we barely get break. And some of us still working on minimum salaries, have to be working 2 jobs, coming from the highland, into the diaspora. So players been getting a lot of money, saying this and that, and you should look at the national team as that pinnacle. You want to represent the national team. Don't put up against the national team with the administration. The national team is there. You should be willing to play for the national team at any cost. Players around the world, that's their joy. Mikel Antonio said, he's going through breakdown, family issues, and when he's come to play for his national team, that's when he smiled. That's when he find happiness in himself. Just a little moment away, So hopefully, Leon can really sort out himself. Yeah, still respect the player decision. Still respect the player decision of his own decision of timeout and stuff, but I want the best player to be representing our national team. Leon, as much as he's underperforming since his debut around 2019, something like that, 17, I think 2019, yeah, or 18, he has been performing below par, but he's our most gifted player that all Jamaican want to see play very good for the national team, and it's time, and I was hoping this was a tournament that he was going to live up to expectation, light up the Copa America, and I just see this as a missed opportunity. I see this as a missed opportunity. I don't see Leon as a player that should be at Aston Villa for the rest of his life. Leon is around 26, yeah, 26, 27. I think 26, the level and the potential where he can go to the top. He's talented that, he can go to the top. he showed that over the last season that this should be something that he's going to climb the ladder. And look at the rest of players coming out for the national team, you know, for World Cup qualifier in CAF, in Africa, you know, in the Asian, in players that turn up for Europe, the championship, players that turn up for the CONMEBOL, both CONCACAF and CONMEBOL players turning up. So hopefully, you know, everything can resolve. But people, you know, bless up on yourself, you know, really appreciate it, As, you know, it's one Jamaica coming on Saturday, one Jamaica. Bless up to everyone, If you don't come in, you know, really appreciate it, you know. We're going to support the boys and we're going to support them with that positive energy. Let's remove that bad energy of, yes, there is flaws in our system, but let's keep that positive energy. Positive energy is a very good thing to be swirling around the universe, So Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Jamaican time. Big game. Big game coming up. As my prediction will be 2-0 to the Reggae Boys. I think we will beat the Mexican team 2-0. That's a bold one, but I just believe that, you know, we're going to beat them. We're going to go through to the next one. And if Argentina, Argentina. If Peru, Peru. If Chile, Chile. If Canada, Canada. We are going to compete with our utmost best in this tournament. As after this tournament done, a lot of people are going to be surprised of what or how the level of competition that the Reggae Boys have performed previously, you know, in the Copa. We yet to score a goal, we yet to record a point. So history will be on the line coming on Saturday. Can Coach Hallgrimson, can Coach Hallgrimson be that coach to get us, or do what Winford Schaefer didn't do in his time in the Copa America? I believe in Coach Hallgrimson. People, let's believe and support the boys, and hopefully it's a successful Copa America, and then we can look forward for the Nations League coming up against, you know, Cuba. I don't remember. I think Cuba and I think Guatemala, you know, and hope we can go to the knockout run again in the Nations League and actually go one step above where we finished third, second into the final, and hope we can compete in the final and get our first major tournament. So people, Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, 8 p.m. Jamaican time. Salute people, really respect the massive support. Remember, streaming on both channels, the Carter Media House and Daddy Football Show. You know, show us some love by like the video and actually subscribe on both channels, both platforms. Really appreciate it. Much love and respect. One love, one Jamaica. Believe.